but you're good.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tales of Two. My name is Miss Rachel, and as we wait for people to join us, I will say that our wildlife housing area is still open. Our trails are still open, and unfortunately, our nature center is still closed. But Governor Murphy last week opened up so you can have larger groups outside now, as long as you still do the social distancing, still wear your masks, and yeah, you guys can definitely come and join us. Like I said, our trails are open, our wildlife housing area is open. Our animals are, I wouldn't say they're dying for people to come and visit, but they do like it when people come and visit. They like the enrichment. They like having somebody there to chitter at and look at. Okay, so definitely come and visit us. And once again, I have to say thank you very, very much for your continued support. You guys are rock stars, and you are getting us through all of our technical difficulties. You're getting us through our summer so far. We have over 300 animals in the hospital right now. Fawns are starting to come in. Raccoons have been coming in. So definitely, if you find a baby animal, please, please, please give us a call, and we will let you know what to do. Okay? So give the hospital a call, and then we'll go from there. Okay? Now, if you saw our little blurb, we are going to play with poisonous plants today, guys. Hence the gloves. Okay? So for this, we are going to show you one of my favorites. It really is one of my favorites. I love it and I hate it, because once you get it, you know you get it, and it's itchy, and in some people it can cause a really, really bad reaction. I'm sure you guys know what it is. Put it in the comments if you can think of what it is. You might get a
It's in the video title.
Huh?
It's in the video title.
Oh, it's in the video title?
No, it's not. It just says poisonous.
It's just poisonous plants. I remember that. So you might get a really, really bad rash. Some people, if you inhale like the smoke from it or something, you might get your throat closed up. That's not a fun thing. You might rub it in your eye. It really can be painful. It is my love, poison ivy. Did anybody guess it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool beans. All right, so we are going to show you poison ivy today. Now, there's only a couple places in Cedar Run that I've actually found poison ivy, and the reason for that, I think, is that it doesn't really like the sandy soil that we have here. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't grow here, period. It just has a harder time. Now, you might find it in your yard, you might find it in your neighborhood, you might find it at a park that's much closer to you than Cedar Run. You might see it just randomly on a walk. I see it in Philadelphia all the time where I live. Like, it's just there. It's strange. But it's important to recognize it so that you know to avoid it. You know what it is. Okay? So, I'm actually going to show you, we actually do have a vine growing up back here, so I'm going to go pluck a little bit of it too, to show you the parts of it. A little bit. Okay? So, oh, there's actually some of it right here. Let's see if I can move this branch out of the way. I'm dancing in the poison ivy down here, guys. Okay? So this plant right here is actually poison ivy, and I'm never, ever, ever going to touch it if I don't have gloves on, because the oils on it are what can make the rash, and the oils can get everywhere. So as soon as I'm done with these gloves, they are going right in the trash. And I'm going to hope I don't get any of the oils anywhere else. Okay? But what I am going to do is I am going to pluck this so that I can come close and I can give you a better idea of what it looks like. Okay? Because this branch is really getting in the way. Okay? So this, my lovely, still polleny friend, poison ivy. Okay? Now the best way I have found to identify poison ivy is that poison ivy almost always has 3 leaves. If you've ever heard the term leaves of 3, let it be. It's in reference to poison ivy. Okay? Now, I say almost always has almost always has 3 leaves. When can it not have 3 leaves? When might it not have 3 leaves? doesn't have 3 leaves, it's usually because one of them fell off, one of them got eaten, might have gotten brushed off or plucked off by an animal moving. So it's never going to have more than 3 leaves, but sometimes it might have less. Okay? So it also almost always looks like a little man. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. It's got 2 leaflets that are very, very close together. Right here, we call this the petiole, right where they meet. Okay, so it's got 2 very, very short arms, 1 long one on a long stalk with a long neck. So it looks like a little man with really, really short arms and a really long neck. Okay? So that's one of the best ways I found to ID it. Okay? Some people might also tell you that it has shiny leaves. Does this one look like it has shiny leaves? Not really. Not really. It's a little bit dusty. It's got the pollen on it. It's a little bit older. It probably doesn't have the shine. The young leaves, like this one. I'm going to come up closer to the camera for this one. This young...
It's disconnecting.
No!
It came back. It came back. It came
Okay,
back.
good.
Okay.
Technical difficulties, guys. We're trying. The wind is blowing. The wind is blowing the wrong direction. Okay? Now, I am going to put these in the ground because there's one other part of this, and you can stay right here as long as we have the signal. I did want to show you the other part of poison ivy. The other way to identify it might be you might see the vine crawling around on the ground. You might see the leaves poking up out of the grasses. You might also see this weird thing. Okay? Now, I hope you can see it from back there because I'm kind of far from the camera at this point. But
I won't let her zoom.
this, it's okay if it doesn't go too
You can
far.
see it.
This whole thing, this vine reaching up and crawling up the whole tree is the main vine for this one, for this plant, this particular plant. Poison ivy is a vine, so it is going to crawl up, it's going to crawl sideways. This guy has got little rootlets coming out of it and grabbing onto the tree. Those little rootlets make the whole vine look really, really hairy. And that's one of the other ways that you can tell what poison ivy is. It's got these little hairlets coming out, or little rootlets coming out, so the whole thing looks hairy. So basically, if it's a hairy rope, don't touch it, okay? Don't swing on it, don't play around with it, does not make a good whip, don't do it, okay?
Don't pretend to be Tarzan.
Don't try it. So, that vine is going to go up the entire tree, and that's what it wants. Because even though this plant is poisonous for us, okay, so even though this plant would be really, really bad if we ate it, remember, poison is when you eat it. Venom is when it bites you. Okay? So this plant is a poisonous plant, so don't eat it. Okay? Even though we can't eat it, there's a bunch of animals that can eat it and do rely on the berries that it makes. It actually makes some really teeny tiny little white berries in the fall. These berries are crucial, they are vital, they are so, so important for birds. Birds love, love, love the berries from poison ivy. And they're really, really nutritious for them. They have a lot of fat in them, they have a lot of protein in them, and that helps the birds prepare to migrate for the winter. So they see the poison ivy leaves that are turning bright, bright red in the fall, they're beautiful red. The berries are ripe, so the birds come in. They're not bothered by the oils in it, they're not bothered by the poisonous stuff, just doesn't bother them. Okay? They eat the berries, they get all that fat, they can get nice and fat for winter, and then they can move on as they go. They can move on and migrate to the next area. Okay? So poison ivy, even though it's a weed for us, even though it's really, it can be really, really harmful for us, it's really, really important for the environment. Okay? So if it's in your yard, I would recommend getting rid of it. But if it's in nature, like a natural spot like this, if it's away from people, leave it alone because the birds are still going to use it. Okay, as long as it's not in a place where people are going to go crashing into it, it's not going to, you're not going to walk along the path and find it. Okay. Now, there's one more cool fact that I remember learning about poison ivy. Okay, humans can actually have a use for poison ivy too. The Native Americans that used to be around here, the Lenape, they would actually use poison ivy as a medicine. Now, we probably wouldn't use it as a medicine because we have a whole bunch of other things, but poison ivy, when you get a rash from it, that rash can get rid of other things, and there's a fungal infection. So people can actually get infected by fungus, and this specific one is called ringworm. So what the Native Americans would do is they would rub the ringworm infection with poison ivy, which is totally counterintuitive. You'd think it wouldn't work, but it does. It kills the fungus, okay? And that's possibly one defense for the plant too. Okay? So it kills the fungus. Well, then they have a poison ivy rash that they have to deal with. Fortunately, there's some other plants that grow in other areas that have lots of sap and they have lots of moisture in them, and that helps with the itch. Okay? Jewelweed is a big one, or spotted touch-me-not. It's all the same plant. Okay? So that, if you take the sap from that and rub it on poison ivy, a poison ivy rash, that'll help with the itch. Okay?
Someone in the comments said there's jewelweed at the base of the tree right there. I don't know what it looks like though.
There is not jewelweed at the base of the tree. There's not enough water here, unfortunately. It's a really, really, really wet-loving plant. They like to be like at the bottom of stream areas. I haven't seen any jewelweed here all summer. I think the stuff that's at the bottom of this tree looks to be blueberry.
Or
And there's a
huckleberries.
Tiny, tiny, tiny little oak tree grow, which also might be part of it. But in some cases, they do like to grow next to each other, but I have never, ever, ever seen jewelweed here. I'm so sad because it's such a fun plant. If you can find it, play around with it, seriously. It's a great plant to play around with, okay? But we don't have any here. I'm really kind of sad about that. Do you have other questions?
No, there's just a whole discussion about jewelweed going on.
I'm gonna have to find some and bring it in if I can, because that stuff wilts so fast.
Maybe post a link to like a wiki page or something.
We might have to,
Yeah.
yeah. Just because jewelweed is an amazing plant and I love it, and I wish we had it here to teach about. Trust me, I really, really do. But I don't think it grows in this kind of soil, so I wouldn't even want to transplant it.
You do have a question.
Yes.
A lot of people think poison ivy is contagious. Can you explain that?
That is a fantastic question. So poison ivy is only contagious in the fact that the oil that poison ivy has spreads very, very easily and we can't see it. Okay? So it's not that you're going to get poison ivy rash from somebody else's rash. You're going to get a poison ivy rash from the oils that might be left on their clothes or on their skin. So it seems like it's more contagious than it actually is. So it's not like I'm going to get sick from somebody else. It's I'm going to get sick because they touched something and didn't clean it off. Okay? So it's something like that. The reason poison ivy has such a reaction is because there's oils in it, and those oils are really, really hard to wash off, and that oil is what we get the reaction from. It's called urushiol. Urushiol. It's fun stuff. Also, fun fact, I think ancient China used to use like the urushiol as a lacquer. So, yeah, that's an interesting one too. But that's a whole other topic of discussion there, is using ancient plants for that. Okay? So it's not that the plant itself is, it's not that the rash that it gives you is contagious. It's just because there's oils on it. The oils, there's a couple different soaps on the market. Tecnu is one of the biggest ones, TECNU, that claim to be able to like kind of condense the oils and wash it off easier than just soap and water. But beyond that, the best way to deal with poison ivy if it's in your yard or something like that is to cover yourself completely and put the clothes immediately in the wash as soon as you get done with them, and then take a shower, wash everything off, scrub, and then wash everything else that you just used. Trust me, I've had poison ivy on me for the last 3 months because of all of it, so I'm dealing with it.
And you're still touching it today.
I'm still touching it today, yeah. I don't get it nearly as bad as a reaction as some
I'm
people do.
excited about it.
I am excited.
I don't have any reaction to it.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
Here's another fun fact about poison ivy. If you do not get a reaction from poison ivy as a child, you are less likely to get a strong reaction as an adult, okay? Because the reaction changes your body a little bit, and it changes how your own body reacts to the oils. So if you don't get a reaction as a kid, you're less likely to have a strong reaction as an adult. If you do get poison ivy as a kid, you are much more likely to have a strong bad reaction as an adult. So you might get more of a rash, you might get swollen glands, you know, you might have to go to a hospital. You know, I'm excited about it because I don't get a bad reaction, but I'm also teaching about it. I'm willing to take the risk. You guys should probably not take the risk if you don't have to. Okay, so it can be a really, really dangerous experience if you get a bad reaction. Okay, some people do have to go to the hospital for a poison ivy exposure. So don't take it lightly as I do anyway. Okay, do you have any other questions? No? All right.
Wait.
So,
Somebody just wants to know how you wash the clothes if they have the oil on them. Do you wash them in hot water? Can you wash them with other clothes? Will it spread if you do?
that's a good question. I typically wash all of the clothes on their own. If you're washing your body, you wash it with cold water because warm water opens up your pores and allows stuff to get inside. If you're washing your clothes, I would wash on hot water because it's just better for that.
And then someone has a statement and a question. I also read the more exposure you have to poison ivy, the easier you get it. Any truth to that?
Possible. I don't know if it's an easier thing or if it's just people that do it more often end up getting it more frequently, you know what I mean? It's more of a correlation thing instead of a causation thing. So I'm not sure about that one. That's what I was gonna say. So this is just part one of our poisonous plants. We do have a couple other poisonous plants here at Cedar Run that we are going to feature. Might not be in a row. Okay, so it might just be whenever we get a chance to, or whenever whenever we can get a good enough signal to go visit some of those other poisonous plants. We do have a hawk calling.
No, it's a blue jay.
Oh, it's a blue jay.
It's a blue jay mimicking a hawk.
We have a blue jay mimicking
That's
what's
pretty good.
probably a red-tailed hawk.
We should do a Tales of Two
So,
on that.
we will be doing a mimicking video at some point, trust me. All right. So thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. Come visit us sometime. Thanks. Bye.